All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us to Key Standard 1.4, State Building in the Americas. So this is 1200 to 1450. So keep in mind, we're talking about the Americas before the advent of the Columbian Exchange in 1492. So there's not going to be any spread of like ironworking technology to the Americas yet. The American civilizations that we talk about in this time period are Stone Age civilizations. In the Americas, as in Afro-Eurasia, state systems demonstrated continuity, innovation, and diversity, and expanded in scope and in reach. State systems in the Americas included the dozens of different Mayan city-states. These were not connected together as well as just simply stating it's one civilization would lead you to believe, but most of the Mayan city-states are competitive in nature with each other. They were a civilization that occupied primarily the Yucatan Peninsula in what is current-day Mexico. Their civilization saw its height from 200 to 900, after which they saw a severe decline as the population left the cities. Their primary foods were maize, beans, and squash, but the Mayans did not live in a river valley the way that most of the other civilizations were. And as such, the Mayans refarmed the same soil over and over and over again and used up the nutrients in the soil, which eventually meant that they had to just abandon their fields, and eventually they abandoned their cities, just went back to being hunter-gatherers in the countryside, and much of the Mayan cities were just swallowed back up by the jungle. In Central America, the Mexica were the most important ethnicity that helped to form the Three Kingdoms, or the Aztec civilization in modern-day Mexico. Their primary city was Tenochtitlan, what is current-day Mexico City, and the Aztecs' language was Nahuatl. In South America, the Inca were a civilization that occupied huge territories in the Andes Mountains. Their primary foods were potatoes, quinoa, and guinea pigs. And in the Four Corners region, there was the Chaco Canyon Puebloans. Between 900 and 1150, Chaco Canyon was the center of the Pueblo civilization. Another important city for the Pueblos is Mesa Verde, which is right on the Colorado side of the Four Corners region. Mesa Verde was another site where ancestral Pueblo culture was centered. Their structures are remarkable because they had these ceremonial structures that are called kivas. In the area around the Mississippi River, there was a civilization called the Mound Builders. They built these big mounds that kind of look like this, and their most important city was Cahokia. Cahokia was a city that was part of the Mound Builder civilization. It saw its height from about 1050 to about 1350 CE. It is located just across the Mississippi River from modern-day St. Louis. We're also going to talk today about Key Standard 1.5, State Building in Africa. In Africa, as in Eurasia and the Americas, state systems demonstrated continuity, innovation, and diversity, and expanded in scope and in reach. This includes Mali or the Swahili city-states, Great Zimbabwe in southern Africa, Ethiopia off of the coast of in East Africa. In 1270, Yakuno Amlak became the new leader of Ethiopia. He traced his ancestry back to the leaders of Axum, who were Christians, and hence claimed to be part of the Solomonic dynasty that traces its lineage back to Solomon of the Bible. So important to remember, Ethiopia is one of the more important Christian areas in the world at this time. In the area around northern Nigeria, there's the Hausa kingdoms. In the medieval period, the Hausa developed a civilization on the Niger River that stretched all the way across to Lake Chad. The most important state in the 14th century is called Kano, which is in northern Nigeria. They engaged in the salt and gold trade across the Sahara Desert in the Trans-Saharan Trade Network with Moroccan and Berber traders. They were traditional African religion, but increasingly they became Muslim as time went on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's key standard 1.4 and 1.5.